Hey there, 12th graders! Welcome to a really quick, super essential prelude to your next major math lesson. Today, we're unpacking the absolute foundation of the binomial experiment. Now, rather than just jumping straight into complex equations, because let's be real, nobody wants to start there, we're going to spend just a couple of minutes exploring a totally fascinating concept. We're talking about situations in life that are literally black and white. This quick explainer is designed to give you the exact mental framework you need before you even look at a single math problem. So let's get right to it. Okay, let's dive into this. When exactly do we actually use the binomial distribution? Well, think about scenarios where there is absolutely no middle ground whatsoever. You're looking at events that have strictly two outcomes. It's either a clear, definitive success or a complete failure. Think about it like hitting a bullseye or completely missing the target, or answering a true or false question right versus getting it totally wrong. Discovering this mathematical absolute is honestly what makes binomial probabilities so incredibly unique and predictable. That two-outcome reality, that is the core idea we're working with here today. But to actually use this concept and officially join the binomial club, your experiment has to pass 4 specific checkpoints. Let's weave through them really quick. First, trials must be independent, meaning one coin flip doesn't care at all about the result of the last one. It's a fresh start every time. Second, we need a limited, fixed number of attempts, which we usually just call n. Third, like we just talked about, there are strictly 2 possible outcomes per trial, success or failure. And fourth, the probability of success, which we call P, has to remain absolutely constant for every single attempt. Once you check off those 4 boxes, boom, you've got a true binomial experiment. So the crucial point is that because there are strictly 2 outcomes, a really beautiful mathematical relationship emerges. If you know your chance of success, P, you automatically know your chance of failure. It's kind of like a seesaw. Since there are only 2 possibilities, they literally have to add up to 1 whole or 100%. Therefore, the probability of failure is simply 1 minus the probability of success. Grasping this mental glossary right out of the gate is incredibly powerful because it basically halves the amount of work you have to do to map out the pieces of your equation. How great is that? You know, it's almost a light bulb moment when you realize that just knowing these basic conditions, the 2 outcomes, fixed trials, and constant probability, actually gives you the power to predict complex scenarios. You know the conditions, you know the 2 strict outcomes, and you know exactly how they relate to one another mathematically. Take a quick breath and just let that sink in for a second, because you've just successfully built the foundation for this entire upcoming lesson. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate blueprint. When you write this down in class later, you'll see a binomial distribution really just boils down to 2 variables inside those parentheses, the number of trials and the probability of success. I want you to cement these 2 variables in your mind right now. They're visually simple for sure, but they are incredibly powerful. Identifying the number of trials, n, and your success probability, p, in a text prompt is essentially like finding the master keys to unlock the entire formula. Which brings us to the ultimate question. Are you ready to spot these exact patterns in an actual problem? You've got the exact framework now, you know the 4 checkpoints, and you hold the blueprints to decode how these distributions work. So, take this toolkit, head into class, and go see how it applies to your next equation. You've totally got this. Good luck, 12th graders!